This, what you're looking at, is the Canon R8, the full frame, affordable little beast. I want to talk about it today. I'm taking it out for a ride on my Riker. This channel isn't about like riding a Riker. I shoot music videos and I make content creation if you're new to the channel. But just to start off, this 4K footage, this downsample from 6K looks good. It's very sharp when I shoot like this. I'm shooting in a neutral picture profile on a 16mm lens right now. That background's blown so I can try to keep, you know, some of the detail on my face, and that's just the dynamic of this shot. How does it look? I'm also using the eye detection and the center block focus, so boom, quick focus, pretty nice. It locks right back onto my eye. I got the cheap $299 16mm on here. If you think this quality looks good, I do too, because this cheap lens, I don't think it's supposed to look as good as it does, but it does, especially on the R8. I think the R8 is putting in a lot of work with the 4K footage. It just looks good. This is a natural, real world use. Somebody that actually gets outside and uses the camera type of review, and just type of camera talk. This is gonna be hard to make a video and doing all this riding and all these shots, so that's about the most creative shot that you're gonna get. One thing that I really didn't expect to love about this camera is getting rid of my Canon R5. It was a bit bigger in hand, a little bit more inconvenient at times. This camera is tiny. It feels like you're holding a toy camera. And the fact that it feels like that, it feels like I can do anything with this. I can do dangerous shots. I can mount it in places because I'm not scared of it falling. I don't know why. It's just so affordable. It's around $12.99 right now. And I know that might sound a little steep, but honestly, when in the grand scheme of things and like cameras and like compared to R5s and just FX3s and stuff like that, this is pretty cheap and affordable if you look at it at that scale. I don't know, I just wasn't expecting to get rid of my R5 and love the tiny factor of this. At first I was a little nervous about it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is too small. But I've learned to love it, and it's actually just been pretty fun. I'm gonna make a video about my Riker from Can-Am one day and tell y'all how I got it, how everything happened, and just talk about this. I know that's probably for the subscribers here. If you're new here, you may not know anything or care, but if you've been subscribed here and you've been wanting to know about this and how I got this and what this is all about, I'm gonna make a video about it. Oh yeah, what we got to talk about next is the battery life. I wasn't expecting this. All right, made it up here to the spot. That was like an hour and 10-minute drive. What I was talking about as far as the battery life, we're on half a battery right now, but I wasn't expecting that the batteries would even last as long as they did from the reviews and things that I heard online. A lot of people were saying that the battery life was terrible on this thing, but honestly I think that it's not that bad. I've been shooting long clips of me like setting the camera up, recording, walking into the camera frame, coming back, cutting it off, probably like 3 days, like on and off shots, and then I started vlogging today and we're at half a battery. But usually when it's at half a battery, it kind of just gives you a few minutes of recording and then it just goes red and then it's boom. What I've honestly found to be working for me is I just bought one extra battery and I just use that battery until it's dead, and I throw that one on charger, swap out with the fresh battery, and by the time that I'm done using that other battery, the other battery is usually ready to go. It's full charge. So I'm just bouncing back and forth between two batteries, and it's, for my shooting style, it's been working great.
Look at my baby right here. This shot is clean with this C-Log 3. I wonder how it's coloring down. Look at my baby though. The shot looks clean.
Dude, this lookout is crazy. And then there's some low clouds because it was like raining earlier. Wavy. Another thing that I wasn't expecting about this camera is the 180 frames per second, the really slow motion. I figured that 120 would be enough for me, but there were some scenarios where I needed up to 180 frames per second for some really slow motion shots. These product videos right here that I shot, I just needed 180. 120 wasn't slow enough, it wasn't cutting it. So that was just something that surprised me also, or that I wasn't really expecting about this camera, but it's dope. Dope to have it. Some peace and quiet. There's nobody out here outside of Atlanta. So just to let you know, the 120s and the 180 frames per second are also shot in 1080 only, but honestly, they look super crystal clear to me. I think 1080 is fine, 4K is great, and 8K can be even cooler with like a R5 because you can scale it in. But beyond that, 1080p is just as good. Just having the option of 120 and 180 in 1080p is cool for me. I don't really care if they're 4K. As you can see, the time-lapse mode is pretty dope as well. It works like any other Canon camera, and there's no better or worse. You can do 1080p, 4K, but this looks fire. Alright, unfortunately that battery died while I was making that time lapse, but I was fortunate enough to get a beautiful time lapse of those clouds rolling through this like little valley. I don't even know what you would consider that. It looked great, so I was fortunate for that. I have switched the camera back to neutral picture profile. Something about the neutral picture profile and vlogging for me personally looks better with the colors in camera. I just feel way more confident shooting with the neutral. And honestly, I would prefer not to have to do a lot of work to my footage if it's just a vlog or it's some type of, you know, just simple YouTube content or something like this. I'd rather it just be straight up out the camera, neutral, and then slap my LUT on there because it makes it look fuego. Anyway, this spot is super cool, and as dope as all this looks and everything that's vibing right now, everything that's going off, because it's absolutely going off. I want to go down to the waterfall, so that's a hike way down these stairs and this cool bridge, and I want to get some B-roll with the R8 just to show you the quality, because honestly, the quality coming out of the R8 is just as good as my R5. I would say, I would go to the extent of saying that the quality between my R8 and the R5 is not much different, honestly, and that was another thing that I was not expecting. I was not expecting this camera to actually look so good because it was so cheap, or not cheap, but affordable, and it's so small, and it was just like, nobody talked about this camera. I think it was slept on. I think that it was underrated, overlooked, all of that. And so yeah, anyway, this battery actually wasn't charged a lot, but it says it has full battery, so we should be good. I just don't want to fight against the sunlight, so let's go get some B-roll of me going to hike. Let me show you the quality of this camera. Look at that, I brought you back in time to the cool spot where the clouds were going crazy and going off. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you, who do I recommend this camera to? I would say anybody that's using like older Canon DSLR models could upgrade to this. If you got a T2i, 80D, a 90D, any of those DSLRs that are kind of on the more cheaper side, I feel like this is a nice upgrade to it for $12.99. I also think that if you have something like a R5, a R6 or something like that, this could be a B cam. This could definitely keep up with the R6, R6 Mark II, definitely the R6 Mark II, because I believe this R8 and the R6 Mark II have the same exact sensor. I would also recommend it to anybody that's looking for a dummy camera or a crash camera or a, what do you call it, daredevil camera. The reason I say that is because of the affordable price of $12.99 compared to like a R5, which is 4K or whatever it is now, $3,200, whatever the case may be. It's half the price of that, so it's just less stress. It's also small and it's easy to like mount in different places and stuff like that. I've also shot a ton of music videos with this thing already, and I haven't really promoted those music videos online designer showed them, you know, or BTS or anything about using the R8 on a music video set. I do think shooting in controlled situations for like music videos, this thing does great because you can light the stuff in the C-Log 3. Everything kind of turns out really nice in the end. So if you want to shoot music videos with this thing, you can. That also would mean commercials or ads or anything like that, because that's controlled lighting and controlled situations. This camera can pretty much do anything. So if you have a budget around $12.99, I would say go for it. If you have more, go for something bigger. But even if you have $11.99 or $10.99 or $900 saved up, save up a couple more $100 and just go for this camera. I'm telling you, it's worth it. The choice is up to you. I'm just making this video because I've used this camera for 6 months, straight up this camera and a Canon EOS R, which I only use in 1080p. So this camera's been my main driver for 6 months. And I sold my C70 and R5 to use this specifically because I knew that if I kept those cameras, I would be using those and I would pick those up instead of this one. I think I just heard a cock-a-doodle-doo. A rooster? What is happening? Where am I? I'm definitely in the country. Anyways, I think the R8 is a great camera. I highly recommend it. I think that it's slept on and underrated and, you know, overlooked. So maybe look into it. But don't buy it unless you really need it or you've been thinking about it or you're really looking into it. If you really want to do it, pull the trigger. There's links down below. And hopefully you like this video. I'm going to do an in-depth review about this camera, I'm pretty sure, and go deeper like on music video stuff and quality and things like that. And if you'd like to see that, just let me know. But yeah, I'm out. Peace.